Spoiler warning for Honkai Star Rail up to the end of version 2.1 of Penacony's Trailblaze mission questline. If you have not reached the end of that point in the story and do not wish to be spoiled, click off and return once you have seen everything that will be covered in this video. Disclaimer, since I did not have proper recording software for HSR until I got my PS5 in mid-April, footage I use for story content from 2.0 and 2.1 will be borrowed from other sources. Here's the list of channels and content creators I borrowed footage from. Also, if I get anything wrong, let me know in the comments below. With that out of the way, let's proceed into the analysis of Acheron's character.
Dusk's reign. It too shall fall.
From the moment you first meet Acheron in their Dreamscape, she's already given the vibe of a mysterious character who is much more than they let on. You two happen to enter the Dreamscape together, she talks in red text, makes HI3 references, refuses to elaborate, and kicks you out with a judgment cut. Over the course of the Penacony storyline, we come to figure out that her identity as a Galaxy Ranger was a sham. In truth, she's an Emanator of Nihility who killed Duke Inferno and stole the Everflame Mansion's invitation so she could visit Penacony in their place. Her Odachi is also part of her true self, which is why she keeps it in her scabbard and rarely draws the blade out. And as we see in Should One Awaken at Midnight, the hesitation to draw her sword would seemingly cost Firefly her life. And with Acheron being an Emanator, I think it's important we examine how she connects to the path of Nihility.
Welcome to Nihilism 101, where you'll really see me pull off my creative writing skills. First off, what exactly is nihilism? The general public sees it as an actually pessimistic ideology that devalues everything in life and makes people act all doom and gloom. To an extent, that is true. The founding principle of nihilism does happen to be skepticism.
According to the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy, nihilism is generally the belief that all values are baseless, arguing that life and morality lack inherent purpose or deeper meaning. There are various branches of nihilism, ranging from political to medical to existential. With that in mind, which type best relates to Acheron? First, let's see how she ended up on the path of Nihility. For that, we need to step outside the game for a brief moment and examine the Izumo trailer that was uploaded on YouTube in the lead up to version 2.1. Long story short, the people of Izumo used 12 sentinels to forge a pair of swords called Origin and End. Acheron was an Oni girl who wielded Origin. When the swords broke, Acheron realized the battle was pointless. Both Izumo and its rival planet Takamagahara are destined to slip into the black hole they orbit. The two were destined for an end that never existed. Acheron forges her last blade, once called Life, now called Not. As she swings this red sword for the first time, we watch her become an Emanator. So it's clear from her monologue that when she became an Emanator, Acheron thought in line with existential nihilism. However, I believe the older Acheron we meet in the game follows a different, more uncommon type of nihilism, optimistic nihilism. Now, I know that sounds like a contradiction after just establishing how pessimistic this philosophy typically is. It's all about how nothing in this world has any inherent value, but there is a way to turn such a statement into a positive way of thinking. If nothing in life has any intrinsic value, then you can apply any value or purpose you want to your life and your experiences. You add value to other people's lives just as other people add value to yours. I believe Acheron thinks in a similar manner, as indicated by what she says to Adventurine at the end of the second chapter.
Even if the ending has been predetermined, that's fine. There are countless things that humans cannot change. But before the end, there are many things that humans can do while on their journey. And because of this, the end will thus reveal a completely different meaning.
There are multiple scenes that display her having some appreciation of life, such as her mourning Firefly's supposed death or how she sees the people she's killed in her dreams. She's clearly changed a fair bit since the events of the Izumo trailer. Even if she sees no value in her life, as indicated by her sword's name, there's some value she attaches to the lives of others. The name Acheron derives from a river in Greece. In Greek mythology, the Acheron River is one of 5 rivers that lead into the underworld. It's described to serve as the river of woe and misery, a fitting name for someone who weeps for the departed. There's another aspect of the path to Nihility that needs to be considered with Acheron, and that is the faction she's connected to. I think all the Self-Annihilators are Emanators of Nihility. For their databank entry, it's described how they all share one thing in common: their various existential properties such as corporeal body, mental cognition, and personal memories will gradually fade away in their journey of self-annihilation, the fading and eventual loss of one's memories. Does that remind you of anyone? Funnily enough, her forgetfulness is only something she faces in her normal state. As soon as she unsheathes her sword, her hazy memories become clear. Although based on Black Swan's examination of those memories during their dance, it's clear she's lived through a lot of grim and horrific experiences. Acheron's white-haired form is likely the cause of her self-destruction. The more she uses her powers, the shorter her life becomes, but there is hope for her. In a flashback right after the adventuring boss fight, we hear Acheron talk to someone. They talk about how IX doesn't glance at anyone to select their emanators, rather they leave strands of fate for people to walk, weaving together a shadow which they become enveloped in. Acheron asks if she'll end up part of that shadow. The other person remarks,
"You still have a strand of color, but not much."
This is a clear reference to her Emanator form. As we see, that form isn't completely washed out. Her color scheme is white and red. The red coloring may indicate how she's able to resist drowning into the endless shadow of Nihility. There's still that drive in her to reach Nihility's end. For most other self-annihilators, they don't have the same capability to resist and end up as zombies that are as white as snow from head to toe. If you're familiar at all with the rest of Hoyoverse's catalog, then you must already know that Acheron is meant to resemble someone else. She's an XP of another purple-haired woman who's adept with a sword, Raiden Mei, a key character throughout the entire Honkai franchise. She specifically takes inspiration from the Raiden Mei in Honkai Impact 3rd. I haven't played HI3 yet, so when comparing and contrasting these two, I had to rely on outside sources. Thank you to my Twitter mutual Lumi, who's a big Impact 3rd fan, for helping me with this part of the analysis. You are the best. There's multiple things HI3 Mei and Star Rail's Acheron have in common. Both have a heart of gold underneath a very cold exterior. They have a tendency to isolate themselves and deal with their problems alone, not opening up to others about their issues for one reason or another. Despite that, both seek to forge close friendships, as shown with Mei's relationships with the Flame Chasers, and Acheron admitting to being envious of the Astral Express crew in A Walk Among the Tombstones. Acheron describes people and events similar to what occurs in HI3's world, so she has likely gone through a lot of the same things Mei has. The best way to sum up the differences between Acheron and Mei is that Acheron is essentially a Mei without a Kiana. Kiana was the biggest source of light in Mei's otherwise dark life, and was able to soften their Hershira Thunder's edges, so to speak. Acheron lacks that same light in her life. In fact, based on the story of the Pioneer Diver Relic set, Acheron lost that light when Freebass, a girl who traveled through the river Nihility with Acheron, eventually entered Nyx and ended up self-annihilating. Now, we don't know what Freebass looks like, but Acheron seems to subtly reference the story while talking to Walt during When the Sacred Gen Mill Closes. I'd like to say it's probable that Freebass was some version of Kiana.
Then, what if the last bird finally soars into the sky, only to realize that the end of the light is not the sun, but darkness? Then why, exactly, do we even walk towards the light?
Acheron has a lot to analyze. In fact, despite my best to cover everything I could, there's still likely a good bit I missed in my research for this analysis video. And on top of that, this video could become instantly outdated as soon as new information about 2.2 or any other future versions come out. So I guess that's why there's not many analysis videos on Genshin or Honkai Star Rail's characters, because you never know what new thing we'll learn about them that completely changes our viewpoint of the character. But still, I feel like it's necessary to make a video like this for Acheron now, just for how important of a character she is to both Penacony and Star Rail as a whole. And I'm glad I got to make this video because Acheron fascinated me like she did with many players as soon as she was introduced, and has only continued to hold my fascination throughout the story so far. Thank you for watching this video. This is one part of a series of analysis videos on Penacony's cast of characters. If you want to see me analyze another character from Penacony, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, like this video to let me know if I did a good job. As a smaller content creator on the platform, engaging with my videos really, truly helps me out. Thank you once again for watching, have a great rest of your day, and until we meet again, take care.